snatching a victory out of the jaws of defeat. Get to it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Woo-hoo. And that's what happens when you have some resilience, some persistence.
Wow. Talk about a circus shot.
Trick shot, Jrue.
That's all you can do is shake your head. Horse shot. I'm going to go to my right. I'm going to go behind the backboard. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to order some popcorn and a soda. Bottom just takes the cookies. Cookies, Marcus Morris Sr. Cookies. Jrue just picked his pocket. Pick 'em, peppers. First of all, thank you for chopping it up with MJ.
Right.
That's the name we decided on the show. Can you do that for me? Chopping it up with MJ. It's all good. So listen, what I like to start off with is just asking about your game prep. Are you a music guy? Big music guy?
Yeah, I like music.
What do you listen to? Just what gets you in the mood to play?
Honestly, it's probably older stuff. It's more like old school stuff. Like you probably know I'm like Smokey Robinson. I like the Isley Brothers. I like a little Marvin Gaye. That's usually what I drive like in the car to the arena, and then there's always like Usher and those type of guys. I mean, I'm not really like a rap guy. I'm more like an R&B. I grew up. My pops. I couldn't listen. I could only listen to that in church music. So.
Okay, so now is there one particular song that would get you more
it ain't
motivated?
one particular song. No,
Okay, just that groove. Is
really
it
the
slow,
whole genre,
slow
man.
groove, slow jams,
Some
or
smooth,
upbeat?
you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So you like to be kind of mellow and just kind of relax.
I feel like that's kind of how I play. So
Yeah.
it kind of keep me.
Well, explain that. Describe that.
I guess I feel like I'm not really out of control per se, or
Just a manic kind of all over the place.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I feel like I'm a little bit more.
See, it's funny. In the game last night, I made a comment just that you just never seem to get sped up. You play at your own pace. You could control kind of the flow.
It's the music I listen to, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
See, that we found something out about you.
Right.
You mentioned your dad, Sean, and I know your mother, Toya, was. Your dad played college basketball also. No, where's he from? He's from Los Angeles, or is he?
Yes, I mean he's from up north. He's from Santa Rosa,
Okay.
in Northern California. But then ended up moving down and playing like high school in Pasadena.
Okay.
And then both my parents went to Arizona State for a little bit.
Right. So I know your mom was City Player of the Year at Kennedy High School. I mean, great basketball player.
My mom's the GOAT.
Pac-12 Player of the Year also,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I guess my question, and most of the time I ask guys, you know, if their dads played even a little bit, when was the first time they beat their dad? But I'm gonna ask you, when is the first time you beat your mom, first of all, in terms of one-on-one?
I lost to my mom. I was like 12, 13. And she was just hitting me with pump fakes. I thought that I could block every shot, but she was smart. After that, I never played her again.
Really? After you lost, you never? See, it's normally the opposite. It's normally
But it's really because of my mom, though.
Okay.
She was just so busy. She was always like working. She worked at the school, so she always had stuff to do with the school. But my mom, I think I played her maybe once, and that was one of the first times I saw like, oh, you can play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just how she approached the game, how smart she was. Again, like even though I was taller than her and more athletic, she still used like all her advantages.
But you never saw film, but she never showed you. Were they into that at all? Kind of like past accolades. And look at me, what I used to do.
I always heard from other people.
Okay.
I always heard from even my dad. I didn't meet my dad till I was 16. But even my dad, so both my parents, it was just other people telling me like, man, you should have seen your mom play in high school. You should have seen your dad play in high school. And he had already played like 2 games. He played my older brother first, and then he played my brother's best friend first, beat both of them, then he played me, and I won. Okay. But again, he had already played 2 games, and then, I mean.
So you said you didn't beat your dad?
Yeah, I didn't beat him until I was 16 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm saying, so in this one setting, he played my brother first. He beat my brother, and then he played my brother's best friend. They both went to University of Washington. And then
who's that?
Darnell
Degan.
Okay.
Great job. I coached Darnell in high school.
Yeah. Okay. And then I played him, and probably because he played them 2 first and then played me last, it's probably he was tired and all that. But I beat him though. I take it. I'm not sure he takes it.
Now, in terms of the dynamic, I mean, it's just such a mind-blowing thing to realize that you've got 3 brothers in the NBA. I think the first time you guys were on the court together, Aaron and Justin were in Indiana a couple of years ago. But
what is that like? I mean, do you understand the enormity of that kind of an accomplishment? Are you kind of taking it for granted because you guys have always been good? Or?
A little bit of both. I understand it, but I think for me, and I would probably say my brothers too, we felt like this was supposed to happen. Like we felt like we were meant to be here. Again, we all kind of grew up doing the same thing, preparing the same way, playing basketball the same way, taught mostly by the same people. So once I think we kind of got to the highest level or got a chance to, we kind of felt like we were supposed to be here. Now, my little brother is 6 years younger than me, seven years younger than my older brother Justin. So we could like give him little pieces of stuff when we made it to the league and he was still in high school. So we kind of felt like we had the formula, And not just us, but I mean, I don't know what my parents did. I don't know. Obviously, they genes or something that probably helps. But
when it was Sean, your dad, was he the main workout guy, or did he kind of farm it off to other people so he didn't have to?
At first, it was my dad. I would probably say the foundation was my dad. We had other coaches, like AAU coaches, from like 6th grade on, friends and people that like my dad grew up and played against, people that even my mom knew. That obviously they trusted, and from there that's where like the defense came in, the fundamentals of the game, the footwork, all that stuff, like the foundation. I felt like we really started off with, and then I remember when I was in college and I had a bad game or I didn't like it. Like me and my dad were in the gym all the time in college. Like even my first 3 years in the league, like my dad would come down. I mean, because we're gym rats, so we just always be in the gym. Summertime, always in the gym. Be in the gym till like 2 a.m.
What's the dynamic like with you and Justin growing up? Just a little bit over a year apart.
14 months, yeah.
Okay, I mean, so fights and acrimonious and get into each other.
Sure.
It was
for sure.
Oil and vinegar, or okay.
It was always. I mean, but it was only really basketball. It was only really basketball, like playing one-on-one. If we played 2-on-2, my little brother and sister, I feel like my little brother and sister would kind of get into it. But one-on-one with my brother, we'd end up fighting, going in the house, and then 10, 15 minutes later, we come out and play again. It'd just be a cycle. But that changed my game. That helped me a lot because my brother's 6'6". He has a 7-foot wingspan. Like, when you see all those finishes and stuff that I do, I had to do it against him when I was younger.
I was wondering. So he forced you to be creative.
I mean,
and
he's athletic and he could jump, and so all that I had to try to. I was always shorter than him, so I always had to try to get it off somehow. So I just started figuring it out playing against him.
And what's interesting, Jrue, is that Justin took kind of a circuitous route to the NBA. He played over in Belgium. He wasn't drafted. And I did a lot of his games at Washington, working college basketball back in those days. And I would tell Sean, I told Justin to keep working, man, because it's just something about the way he played. He had this motor. He played hard all the time. He played great defense. Just something about the way he played, I just appreciated and thought there'd be a spot for him. But in terms of the pride that you have, with him going through what he did. I mean, not that your route was easy, don't get me wrong, but you got to be proud that he's worked and continued to not give up.
I don't think people understand what he went through. He played 3 years overseas. He went to, I think, Belgium twice. He was in Belgium twice and played in Turkey. Okay. He's been on a lot of summer league teams. He's been in I think at the time it was the D League.
So he's gotten cut. He had to go through the process, getting cut.
I think he played in Idaho or Boise.
Right.
Yeah.
The Stampede. Yeah.
Yeah. So his route was crazier than even my little brother. But that just shows how dedicated he is to the game, how much he loved the game, how much he felt that he is an NBA player.
And I mean, how much did you encourage, counsel, keep your head up, keep working hard? Did you find yourself doing some of that or no?
I feel like it just comes natural. I think our parents did a good job of wanting us to beat each other, but at the same time want the best for the other person. Right. So, yeah, when I see my brother and he's overseas, and I know, like, especially you play against some guys, you like, man, my brother better than him, or my brother could be on this team. Yeah, it's like, keep your head up. Yeah, in the summertime, we getting the work in that we need to get in, and it's consistent. It's all the time. So I've literally seen my brother put in the work and get better because we've done it together. So knowing and seeing and being there, I'm like, yeah, he's an NBA player. But really just continually telling them like, you're supposed to be here.
I don't want to belabor this too much, but I got to talk about the UCLA year that you spent and I always regret that I didn't get a chance to know you better, because I just figured, you'd be around another couple of years.
I thought I was too.
Not for any other reason, but just, but do you still, so you won and done UCLA. Can you talk a little bit about why you left after 1 year? If you don't want to, that's fine too, but I'm just interested from my own personal knowledge as a Bruin.
So my freshman year, we played VCU the first round of the playoffs, or the March Madness. Then we played Villanova. We got smacked by Villanova. But that was like the first year that you can go into the draft, or it was the last year you can go into the draft and come back to school. So I felt like my time wasn't done at UCLA. 3 years before that, they went to the Final Four, and I'm like, that's what I'm trying to experience. That's what I want to get to, that level. But I ended up telling the coach at the time, I'm gonna go into the draft, and then I'm gonna come back, but I'm gonna come back to school, because like I felt like my job here isn't done. And he had said some things, and it was me and my parents, and we didn't like it, so we're like, all right, we're just gonna stay in the draft.
Ben Holland?
Yeah, Ben Holland. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just stayed. We stayed in the draft. We didn't take our name back out.
Now, do you still feel a connection to UCLA, a strong connection, or just because just a year?
So I have a pretty good connection. My wife went there. My little brother went there. My little sister went there. My little sister's husband went there. Okay. Yeah, my little sister's best friend also went there, who is like lives with me sometimes, and she played overseas, and so it's like UCLA is still around me and in me and through me. I still support them. So and again, they do a really good job of connecting alumni and wanting guys to come back.
Yeah, they do. They do a much better job.
They do a much better job.
Well, we used to always complain. The whole thing was like a Trojan. For a Bruin for 4 years, a Trojan for life. So that was a thing that I'd always like.
Nah, it's gotten better. So once I left and went into the draft, I would always go back and play, had the open runs and stuff. And then there was a time there where I probably said like 4 years where I didn't really hear much of him. And then my little brother ended up going there, and they had like some things change around, different coaches, whoop-de-woo. And now it's like they want us all back, so that's been cool.
Now, I heard this story. Tell me if it's true or not. You were at I want to say a women's basketball game or volleyball game, and some little girl thought you were Darren Collison. And
some little kid, some little boy thought I was, and wanted my autograph. And I'm like, I'm sorry, bro, I'm not Darren. But me and Lauren have mutual friends on the basketball team.
She said you were cuter than Darren.
Yeah, which is true.
Okay.
Again, I love Darren.
Well, what's true, that you're cuter than, or that she said?
Both of them. I'm cuter than Darren. But even though that's my man's, but yeah. So I think from there it was just that's kind of how we started our friendship. So me, Malcolm Lee, who also went to UCLA, my wife now, but friend at the time, Lauren, and then a couple girls on the girls basketball team would like always play. We'd always play in Wooden. We play everywhere. So and we'd just always hang out. So we just became this big friend group.
Lauren, soccer player, she's got some basketball.
She can play. She's from Indiana.
Hooped this. Yeah. She did what?
She's from Indiana.
Did she play?
Yeah, she played
college?
Oh no, she played soccer in college.
Okay, but played high school.
She actually got recruited for basketball in college. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. So now she dealt with her challenges, and I'm not gonna again belabor that too much, but just kind of walk me through for you. Just in terms of going through that and how it might have changed your perspective on what's important in life.
Yeah. So my wife's health issues it was a crazy time. There was a time where like I didn't know if I'd have my wife and my daughter. Obviously wanting to switch places with her, like I'd rather me go through the pain than see her go through it. But she's the strongest person I know. Like I'd never had a doubt that she wouldn't make it, or she wasn't strong enough to fight through it. But I wouldn't say that it necessarily changed my perspective. It just made what I thought stronger, which is one, my faith. My faith in Jesus Christ was, it kind of I felt like it was already strong, but it blew up then. And for so many different reasons. Like, it was my contract year. It was my wife and my first child. So many things that I had to have faith about. And then
So she was going through the brain tumor situation while she's
5 months pregnant with my
5 months pregnant.
That's when we found out. She was 5 months pregnant
and
with my daughter.
what was the thing that kind of
She started
something was going on?
I would probably say at 3 months pregnant, 2 or 3, she started feeling weird. And you know, she's an athlete, so she knows her body really well. But we were working out, and she's like, "Do I look weird? Like, I feel off." And I'm like, "Nah, like you look good." And then some things started happening, like she couldn't feel like her gums. So we went to the dentist. They poked her gums with a needle, and she couldn't feel it. And then some stuff like on her face, or even like swallowing. She had to tell herself to swallow instead of it just being natural. Right. Things like that started off, and then it kind of went to like her muscles, her eye, her ear. So she's deaf in her right ear. There's a couple muscles in her eye that doesn't allow her to like pull her eye out this way. It'll only like tract in and it'll go up and down, but it won't pull out. Which she had surgery to get that corrected, but she still can't hear out of her right ear. But yeah, that's kind of where it started, and just progressively got worse, where her face started drooping and stuff. But yeah. Yeah,
no, that had to be something to have to, in a contract year, and you had to take a leave of absence from the team just to,
I mean, again, like you said, it was faith, then it's my family, then it's basketball. Like I wouldn't be here or be doing any of this without those two. So.
But to go back, so Philadelphia, you told me your dad would come out, go to the gym with you if things were not going like you wanted them to go.
Or honestly, just because I'm 19 and I'm young. Like, what else I'm gonna do?
Right.
I wasn't like really going out like that. I'm 19 and I like being in the gym.
Right.
And I would go with Pops.
4th year All-Star. What did that feel like? The first time All-Star, just.
It was only time All-Star. Yeah. It was
that needs to change. But go ahead.
It was a cool experience, man. It was a cool experience. It definitely showed me how much it takes to be a great player in this league. It taught me how to take care of your body. I enjoy my breaks. All-Star break, like if you get an All-Star break, it's great. But those guys, like somebody like, I don't know, Giannis, who never gets an All-Star break. Like, you don't get a break during the season. You might get 2 or 3 days instead of 6. That's a big deal. So to be able to take care of your body, to be professional enough to do that, I learned that back in 2013.
Okay, so now back to New Orleans. Now, who's your coaches down there? Did you play for Byron down there?
Monty Williams.
Okay.
And then Alvin Gentry.
Okay. And you like, I mean, from what I've read, I mean, you kind of thought of New Orleans as being home for a while?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, yeah. I think at first it was definitely different just because I was an All-Star, and then my All-Star year I got traded.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so that was like, my first couple of years were kind of like trying to figure out a new place and a new system where I belong.
How did that make you feel? I mean,
you traded?
Were you connected to Philly to that degree where you were a little disappointed that they?
I mean, I was just an All-Star.
Yeah, no, I know.
I thought, and I just signed an extension. Okay. So I thought I was going to be in Philly my whole career. I guess I feel like I'm the type to kind of stay in one place, and you go through the good and the bad with one team. But getting traded was like, I think it happened so abruptly and out of nowhere that, especially at the time, like I didn't really have time to process it. I just finished the camp, and I was actually on my way to a Dodger game with my friends, and I got the call from Sam Hinkie, who was the new GM at the time. The
process.
Right. So I was the beginning of the process. I was literally the first. I got traded for Nerlens Noel, and then they got Michael Carter Williams.
Right.
And then Michael Carter Williams was Rookie of the Year, and
then he got traded.
Yeah. So again, the process I don't know it or understand it, but I was the beginning of it. Yeah.
The process is kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's still going. But
it
from there I knew I had to, like, it was just a new chapter in my life. So.
And then so the thing I remember about New Orleans is the Blazer series, and you just, I mean, you swept them, right?
We did.
You swept them,
we
and
did.
you just.
We did.
Had
we
a
actually played
40-point
Pat.
game and just
We played against Pat. I remember that. That was
Okay.
a fun series. That was a fun one. It was I think we were the 6th seed or something. Yeah. But it was fun because of the atmosphere. Like the atmosphere in Portland is insane. They have great fans. They were talking trash. It was whatever. But in New Orleans, this was kind of the first time I feel like we really had the city behind us. For the most part, they're like Saints fans and LSU fans. I mean, football is life down there. But you just kind of felt like it was our time to, make the city proud. So it was fun.
One of the things I read that you said about the difference between New Orleans at that time and the Bucks, that New Orleans was a young team, and they were trying to figure things out. What does that mean to you? I mean, did that help you? How much did that help you figure out who you were as a basketball player, that experience, especially the success you had in the playoffs against the Blazers there?
Yeah, I got a chance to kind of figure myself out too, to be able to make mistakes and really learn what I'm good at, and especially in this league, what I'm good at. And at that point, you can conserve energy. The way that you play, you don't really try to play out of control. I get to spots that I want to, that I know I can get to, spots that I practice all the time. And then coming here, it was just elevating that. The coaching staff that we have here do a good job of knowing what you're good at and for the system that you're in, and really just elevating it even more. So I think that's probably why last year, we had a good chance of winning last year, and we did. But even this year, I feel like that's why the chemistry is still there, because they do a really good job of implementing everybody in this puzzle piece and connecting it. So
it's funny. I know you guys had played you down in New Orleans, and I forget who your backcourt was, but you just physically just beat down our guard. I forget who our guards were at that point. And a few months later, Jim Paschke, who was doing the play-by-play at the time, recently retired, but he asked me, he said, what does this team need to get to that next level? And without hesitation, I said, Jrue Holiday. And this is about 3-4 years ago. I said, if we get Jrue Holiday, which I didn't think was possible. I mean, just, because of the caliber of player you are. But I said, we get Jrue, it's a done deal. When you talk about knowing what you're good at, give me kind of a laundry list of things that you feel like you just really feel comfortable with in terms of your game right now.
Well, one is defense. That's probably first and foremost. There's really, unless you're 7 feet and you outweigh me by 150 pounds, I feel there's no one that I can't guard. And even still, I'm going to make it difficult on the person that's bigger and weighs more. But for the most part, I feel like I can guard anybody in any position. You
like defense? You like playing defense?
I do. And it's always been something I don't like getting scored on. I know
so
maybe
it's a challenge. It's just a game within the game for you. It's a challenge.
It is. But then it's something about them not scoring on you and then you going and scoring on them. It's kind of like a double punch in the face. You know what I'm saying? It's like a 1-2. You have guys that are cool with being scored on because they know they're going to come back down and get a chance to score.
Right. This ain't football. I like to say you don't get to come off the field.
Right.
You got to go back down. Yeah.
Right. But there's also times where I didn't really have that chance to go back at that other player. So for me to either, I guess, stroke my ego was to get a stop.
Right.
Take the ball from you, get a block, make it frustrating for you. That would make me feel good. And honestly, I feel like that's really, really valuable because a lot of guys don't really do that. It's hard playing defense.
You get traded to you got traded to the Bucks. Yeah, traded to the Bucks. What was your initial reaction when that happened? How'd you feel about that?
So I didn't know that the Bucks were even looking at me. I didn't know that they were a possibility either. There was Miami, Brooklyn, Denver. Excuse me. Those were kind of the 3 teams that I thought were more possible. But then once I heard about the Bucks, I'm like, let's go. I felt and even before, I guess I just felt because again, y'all had really good guards. Again, y'all had G Hill, they had Eric Bledsoe, and Bled is he's like me. He plays defense. He's strong. I might shoot better and be a little taller, but Bled to me is really, really good. So I was like, how would they? Why would they trade them for me? And it ended up, once it happened, it was man, one person I really wanted to play with was G Hill, so I was sad to see him go. But once I got, or not even before I got here, once I found out, I'm like, I think this is going to be a good fit.
Why G Hill? Why were you George Hill?
I've always wanted to. I've studied his game. I played against him. I liked how he played. He's always been like an ultimate professional to me. And I feel like being on his team, and we've tried to link up before, like he was in Indy and other places. So he was just always somebody that I always wanted to play with.
So now you come to the Bucks, playoffs start, and you don't shoot the ball like we know and score like you can score. But what was that like for your early playoffs? I mean, you had your moments, but starting off, I mean, you're always going to bring the defense. But any feelings about struggling, or did you ever able to put that out of your mind? How does that work?
It didn't bother me.
Okay.
I think sometimes when you hear stuff so much from other people, though, like not just the media, but like my wife telling me you got to score more. My dad telling me you got to score more. They my hardest critics.
Okay.
So even just like coming home and be like, you got to do this, you got to do this. I'm like, I know that, but you also got to understand that like I'm picking up the best people 94 feet. Right. For the whole game. It's not like I'm playing 32 minutes now. Right. Like I'm playing 38 to 40 minutes, like the whole game. And I did it for every single series. So like at some point my legs are gonna get shot and I'm gonna maybe have to decide like, what are you gonna be really good at? Like if you're gonna be good at scoring, your defense probably isn't gonna be as good as it should be. But if I'm really good at defense, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna take some away from them. So I think even still me being aggressive and missing shots, I also knew I could fall back on something else.
Right. Well, and I think you don't know this, but I was emailing and texting your dad like, look, he gonna be okay.
Right.
I just knew eventually,
right.
Like you say, as long as you stay aggressive, as long as you're taking your shots.
Right.
I mean, and that's never been an issue for you. That confidence, your ability to knock them down.
I could always score. That ever since I was little, that's never been a issue for me. Again, like I said, maybe just hearing it so much, you like, all right, I got you. I hear you.
Right.
I understand you. I think one game in the finals was like 4 for 20.
Wow.
It was like, it didn't bother me. I think we still won the game.
Who remembers? Yeah.
We still won the game.
Right.
But I also think too, even me just being aggressive and putting the ball on the rim, and we have Brooke and Giannis and Bobby. We had Tuck at the time, guys to go up there and get the rebound and put it in. It still gives us a chance. I think it's when I play passive on offense is when it hurts us.
And this coaching staff, Coach Bud, in terms of his management style, and how much has that impacted your game?
I enjoy it.
Does he get on? When does he get on you?
Oh, he coaches me.
Yeah, okay.
He coaches me for sure.
But sometimes he'll say, we want to go over screens 90% of the time, and you'll go under like you seem to have that kind of long leash at the defensive end. But is that one of the things?
Nah, he's still on me. He's still on me. Again, he still coaches me, and I want to be coached. Obviously, I'd never purposely go against the game plan. Sometimes I might make a read on the court that's wrong. But he still coaches me offensively and defensively, tells me what he sees and what he thinks is best. This is either in game or watching film, individually or in front of the team. Bud will still call you out, and I respect that. I feel like especially nowadays, but growing up, how it was for me was like they told you about yourself in front of everybody, and it's just something about holding you accountable. So being held accountable, man, on this team, I feel like it's something we all try to do.
Now I'm smiling because I remember we were in Indianapolis, IUPUI, where George went to school, George Hill. We were at a practice. We had lost that night. And so Coach Bud gathered everybody together and was just talking to Giannis about getting off the ball a little quicker. And so when the team started scrimmaging, Giannis just passing up shots, passing up layups. He just passed it for no reason. Coach Bud stopped practice like, Giannis, come on now, man. Look, he just in front of everybody. And that's when I kind of felt good that when you treat your star player like you treat everybody else, that guys can respond to that better.
You for sure do. I've seen both sides.
Yeah.
And I know one side gets it gets tricky because you feel like there's favoritism. Right. not that you're not trying your best, but it's like, how am I always getting yelled at when the person who has the ball most, like, makes most of the decisions, is probably messing up more than, you know what I'm saying? Like, making more mistakes than I am, which we also understand the leash and the green light and how that goes. Right. But I think this coaching staff does a good job of praising when needed to be praised, and then when something's starting to trend in the wrong way, really bringing that up and nipping that in the bud.
Talking about the coaching staff, Chad Forcier. I used to call him Chad Fauché up in Seattle when he was young. He never corrected me, so I always thought that was the right way. He was so young, he didn't correct me. But Chad Forcier, you guys work out a lot together. I mean, and I mentioned it on a recent broadcast how, I mean, those shots that you do, you work on those shots. But do you work on that behind? I mean, we strung together a series of behind the back.
I heard about
shots.
that today. I heard about that today. Working out with Chad. I mean, I do. I think a lot of it is it's kind of natural. Kind of when you shoot behind the backboard, you have to have more arc. You have to have more touch. It's like how I'd like to shoot my regular shot.
It's a fun shot, though. It's a fun shot.
It is a fun shot, and I feel like I make it quite a bit. Maybe once I start missing a couple, then I'll stop doing it. But I do work on it, not as much as like the layups and high off the glass with the left and the right hand and all that. I wouldn't say that shot is like a fundamental shot. Yeah. But I for sure.
The lefty layup, where'd that come from?
I think I was supposed to be left-handed.
Do you right, left, do anything else?
I can.
Left?
I can throw left. I can do all that. But I grew up just doing it with my right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting against the Miami Heat, that final shot against was it Gabe Vincent. You know, it was a
everybody was so surprised that I shot it with my right. I mean, I could have shot it with my left. I know.
Perfect setup for the left. But
I know. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Okay.
And instinctually, I would always go to my left.
Yeah.
But I don't know why then I went to my right.
Well,
I have no
thank
clue.
God you did. Thank God you did.
I know.
So now here we are, man. Playoffs right around the corner. How you feeling? I mean, what's the challenge for you guys? The team is playing well right now. You know, there was a time when there were some turnovers and missed free throws and mistakes down the street. But right now the team seems to be in go mode. You know, in go mode. But how do you feel? What do you feel about where you guys are right now? And as we kind of
feel good,
hit that home stretch.
I think for the most part we've been consistent. Especially since the All-Star break, we've been consistent. I think that's probably the biggest part. Health-wise, I feel good. I feel strong. But I also know what's to come. The season is like the grueling part. Like getting through the season, you like, man, this is like kind of taking a long time, and you try to. And I think the coaching staff does a good job of taking care of our bodies during the season to prepare for what's to come. But I feel good, man.
Keys for you guys for the play? I know stay healthy is always the main one, but just
honestly,
keys.
I feel like it's more so about us, like playing our game. Defense is going to be huge because I feel like that's how we won last year. It was a lot of defense. I feel like we added a couple of tools. We added JC, we added Serge to add to that defensive side, and really, man, just be aggressive. But I think to stay on the same page, to still believe that like we're the top dog, because I mean people are going to be coming after us.
Sure.
We kind of hold the trophy right now.
One thing that I enjoy with the big three, you, Giannis, and Chris, is that it's almost like you guys just have this innate connection where you don't have without even speaking it, but who's going to take over different points in the game? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
there's only been, I would probably say, 1 or 2 times when somebody was like, get him the ball.
Okay.
And it was either, I think it was one time where I said, like, give it to Giannis, or Giannis said, give it to Chris. Okay. And I think both times were in the finals, where like Chris was just, fourth quarters, last 2 minutes, Chris was just taking over. It's like, give Chris the ball. Like, let him come off the screen, let him make the decisions. But for the most part, it is like this chemistry, this unspoken whatever. It's just a feel for the game. And I feel like when you have smart players like that, you can always feel when somebody is, like, it's their time to go and they start, you know what I mean, they start cooking.
Is this the most fun you've had playing basketball?
Yeah, in a long time.
Really?
In a long time. I've had like great teammates and great teams, but basketball-wise, yeah. Winning's always fun.
All right. Let's do it again, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for chopping it up with MJ.
Chopping it up.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.